That would have been amusing. Forgot to put the audio on. Forgot to put my headset on, rather. Silent movie. Okay. Looks like things are happening. Yep, people are turning up. Alright, let's just get straight into this. So this is a 1466, obviously. Seems to be all I'm doing lately, and quite honestly, I enjoy mostly doing 1466s because they're the sort of thing that you can rely on to have a pretty reasonable chance of being repairable. Anyway, so this has got apparently some strange power battery related issues. I suppose I'll plug it in and see what sort of charge currents I see. No man, come here. I made some modifications to the system today. I ordered myself a couple of 7-port USB 2 hubs. Strictly USB 2. They're not USB 3, they can fall back to 2, but they're strictly USB 2 hubs. Then I plug them into the USB 2 ports on the main board. The main reason being is that I find, at least with Linux, when you put USB 2 devices mixed in on USB 3 bus, it can cause some sort of quirkiness. And I have about 7 or 8 USB 2 devices that I would normally plug into this particular machine. Things like the microscope positional meter, what else is there? Well, both the meters, like the power supply, and the multimeter. What else? There's a few other things. Anyway, so yeah, I've just plugged them all into a powered USB 2 hub, 7 ports on it, and having the power on there as well. Oh, and the barcode scanner, things like that. And it seems to be running more stable because of that, and I've just left USB 3 devices strictly on USB 3. So anyway, let's plug this in, see what sort of power we get. We get a green light. We do get a boot. It is a 165. Boot looks normal. Actually, it's running a little high there. So just disconnect that. Running off battery. Sorry, running off no power, no battery. Yeah, that's running a little high, up on the 700 mark, where it should be around about the 500. So something's a little quirky there. Hey, Def Pump, well, guess you don't get to sleep now. I mean, you could. It means you'd be bright and ready for whatever you're going to test tomorrow. Or you can stay up and feel like RS in the morning. Okay, so this is obviously an aftermarket battery. Let's see, 512. I do get other machines other than the 1466s, but the 1466s are the easiest to do and have a chat at the same time. Whereas things like the more modern machines, you sort of lose a bit of your brain capacity. You have to trade back some of your brain capacity rather than YouTube talk. If you want to have any chance of succeeding in repairing them. Yeah, the laptop's power hungry. Solder Bridge is heading that way, isn't it? I'm sort of seeing if I can spot anything on top, but I can't really, so we're just going to go straight for the mainboard extraction. This has been disassembled. And to keep with the trend of everybody these days, I ordered myself one of those $150 infrared heating beds for main boards. It seems like everybody's decided that they're all going to start doing large chip replacements, which personally I'm not overly inclined to do, but there are some situations where it may be worth investigating. If nothing else, it's something else to keep me warm in winter. Andre Katz, maybe one day, yes. Certainly it's not something I would recommend people get into as a habit of doing, like replacing PCHs or CPUs, such and such. But there are times where maybe for data recovery or something you just have to take that route. Hey Barry West. Solder Bridge, I've got a couple of 1278s coming up, so you might lose that. Defcom, did you pick up the one that Dave Jones featured today? Because that's the one that I've got on order. Oh, but you would have seen that anyway. Hey, Ratmole. Got anything else to go? Nothing really showing on the bottom there. Oh, different one. How cheap is your cheap? Did you just get something like a $20 hot plate? Well, definitely, there's certainly plenty of other chat around you at the moment. I'm really not sure what I'm looking for on this, to be honest. I guess we'll take the glasses off, look under the microscope, and have a squiz. Lewis funding might have come through. Well, is he rich now to go for the right to repair? I'm going to miss being harassed by Mr. Rossman. Morning, LJ Rogers. Welcome. It's not a large excess in current, but it is definitely excess. It's like 100 milliamps or so being chewed up somewhere. It's kind of odd, to be honest. Sonia? Yeah, Jim, I'd imagine, well, would Erica do that? Or is Erica going to travel with Lewis? So we're looking at something around about 5 to 10 ohm area, I think. That's fluff. I'll check the voltages. If the voltages are running a little bit high, that can also cause everything to start reading more current. Yeah, it's a little bit odd. Oh dear, what's going on? Mum's having trouble. Hmm. Right. Well, it's got the voltage in range. Let's check the other voltages. Well, first two fundamental ones, 342, 343, that's fine. And 8.6, they're right on the mark, so can't blame them. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll bring up the infrared camera and see if anything seems to be getting a little bit warmer. But I foolishly stopped having a look to see what the current was then. Yeah, it's definitely up higher than it should be. Hey, Tony W. Ah, man, out of battery. Faults like these can be very annoying. It's very difficult to pin down the exact cause. I was peaking up initially. When it was all assembled and all that, we were seeing 700-800. But you're right, now that it's posted, something quirky's going on. It's definitely jumping up higher than it should be during post. But it's only about 100 milliamp too high. So this is going to be a pain in the backside to actually diagnose. The infrared might not reveal anything useful. I do wish this camera had a more dependable on-off status. Yeah, it's not much turn off, but it is just a little bit out of what I would consider range. Let's see, that's normal. That there, that's just the, oops, you can't see. Let's see, infrared. And naturally it's stalled. Okay, I've noticed my MagSafe is intermittent. And now it's actually running low. Yeah, it's all over the place, peeling off. Hey, Miles. Okay, so yeah, that there is normal. That's obviously normal. But yeah, now it's running lower than it should be. Let's see, flip it over. Can't see anything particular, obscure there. Now we're back up to 490. Just chop it off for a second. Power it back up. The RAM fires up okay. Yeah, Jim, the hotspot is on the other side. That's the SD card chip. It's fine, it always does that. Just trying to see if anything flickers, but so far I can't blame anything here. There's Pilnov to cast his discerning opinion. Let's see if you... so now it's 495 is about where I'd expect. So now it is actually... No. Okay, this is not one that we're going to find family. So much for that quick trick. I would, if I had to say, I would probably think that an SMC is a possible culprit, given that it's got obscure, that or the ISL. I'll put the battery on and see how it behaves with that. It seems like they've done a fair bit of testing on this and they themselves can't quite unravel it. Sonia, it's a little bit how can I put it, misrepresenting, because the colors you see there, they are just relative colors, and so it's how can I put it, as the board heats up, as everything heats up, the colours could still stay the same because it's all relative proportion as opposed to being an absolute temperature for the colour. The only trouble is I don't know the state of charge on that battery. I'll just check my PP bus. A40 modding. Okay, quite low on that charge. See if it trickles upwards. What isn't shown on the display pin is that apparently this is the second or third battery. They've tested it with other batteries, but you're right, I would tend to be wanting to look at a genuine one. This one is an unknown quantity. Just trying to see if the battery, if it goes up here. So we're at 5922. Let's see if we're going to go up anywhere. So based on the current, we're 582 milliamp, so we probably are trying to be putting about 100 milliamp into the battery, but we're not seeing that yet being reflected because it's just staying steady at that 5922. But if we give it a minute or so, it might start picking up. I'll just take the leads off for the moment. I'll go find another battery anyway. Something to cross-check with. Yeah, what have I done with my batteries? Just keep an eye on that current, see if that current starts jumping up. Oh, that's a dead battery. Got plenty of those. Yeah, it's true, Pionov. Particularly when they're not from... Well, particularly when they're from the same supplier. The whole batch can be a dud. But they did say that they tested with a known good one. Again, like this unfortunately isn't in the description itself. Who are you? No, you're not it. Where are my 1466s? There's so many of them. I've actually started having to sell off my computers. I'm thinking I've got a few too many just festering around here. Best I make it so that someone else can have the good use of them. Yeah, I shouldn't be hoarding all the MacBooks in the world. It's very selfish of me. Actually, speaking of that, Bernov, can someone, someone surely is going to make the modified version and release it for everybody else to copy at some point. Why hasn't someone done it yet? Isn't it supposed to be a community? I want to have to do it myself. Someone else can do it for me. It's about time. I've done my share. Are you kidding me? Where's my batteries? 1465. Oh, no, it's 1466. So we're still at 595. Now, as we saw the other night, it can sometimes take a long time for these batteries to come to life, as it were. But this one, maybe not. And we have not budged at all on the battery. So I'm not completely ruling out the battery. Sorry, not completely blaming the battery yet, but we'll see how it goes with one of these. At least this will let us know if the charging circuit's alive or not. Well, this is obviously definitely charging. And you can see that it's charging because if you look at the voltage, you can see the voltage is creeping up. So like 6, 7, 9, 7, 2. So that's how you know the power's going into the battery. So the charging circuit is definitely operational. So we'll stick this back on. Interesting. Oh no, this is going through that boot process where it just all of a sudden starts chewing up 800 milliamp. Hey Keith McDermott, welcome, good to see you. So here we are, we're still at 5922. Funky SMC, that is... Unfortunately this is going to be one of those ones where I don't get a smoking gun, and I really do not like that. Hey Steve K. It definitely works fine with that other battery. So what we can do is put it back into the case, see if it even sees it. Like, you know, do we get a crossed out battery on the screen, or do we get something else? Unfortunately, no, the individual cells, as far as I can tell, are not... You don't get them broken out on the connector there. You have to essentially rip back a lot of this covering to get access to the cells. Yeah. Most of these are just simply... you got your data comms, your I2C lines, and then the rest are just replications of the ground and the positive. We'll boot it up in the test, my macOS test USB stick, rather than their solid state drive. These are slightly dangerous jobs in the sense that they can easily just languish on your queue, your shelf, for far too long as you're sitting around. You kind of think, oh, I'll test that today with some new idea and see if it makes things any better. And it doesn't, so you put it back on the shelf and you come back to it next week. Oh, I'll test it, and yeah, before long, it's a month and a half, it's been sitting in your workshop, and you're going to have a pretty cranky customer by then. And I've already got enough of those. Jose, what? I was going to say Jose. Ascendo. Yeah. No, I've got the proper inversion filter on. It stops people getting confused by the Australians. Australians are quite considerate in that respect, you know. We understand that the Northerners don't understand such things as upside downism. So we make it easier for you. Okay, Macos. We might be able to get some battery information if we're lucky. Yeah, that current rate is, whoa, 900. Come on, that's... mind you, it is running the screen, so that's actually normal. I was getting a little excited there. Sorry, folks. Hey, Margarita. Don't see you around much anymore. I know you emailed me. Thank you for that. I haven't had a chance to reply. Sorry. Defcom, you're trying to fix your calibrator. Unstable above 600. Oh, okay. That's it's a whole different realm to anything I'm done. Glad you're doing it. Steve K, I don't think we're winning here. Alright, so we do have communication with the battery. We're definitely showing activity, so it is detecting it. So what we can do is now wait. I'm going to give it 10 minutes and see what happens. Well, it's actually now just giving me 1%. And it is charging. Ah, sweet. Alright, so, yeah, welcome to the problem. It is indeed intermittent with that battery. Damn it. But again, is it the battery at fault, or is it the SMC, or is it the ISL? This is becoming a bit of a problem. We'll run Valley. We don't run Heaven on these. We run Valley. Mr. Hook, there may or may not be something appearing in your email. I've got to send you something back, by the way. I'm thinking, I'm not sure. I'm thinking maybe we can, what do you call it, repurpose or resend one of the items you sent, because I'm not finding myself getting around to using it, and it was a fairly substantial investment on your behalf, and I'd like you to maybe find someone else who could make better use of it, or even go get it refunded. Yeah, Pianov, this is the problem, isn't it? We just can't trust it. The other problem, Pianov, was that there wasn't even any incremental increase on that battery state. So I know that depends on what the controller board is going to let through. Well, it certainly runs fast enough, 34. Hey, JCT. Certainly, Jim, we've got to send that, video camera, that other one. I'll send that back to you, so you can send it off to someone else who deserves it. Yeah, we might have to chalk this up to 3 bad batteries. Just reading over what they've said again. Battery was replaced a couple of months ago and now keeps resetting itself. Appears not to be restarting when the battery is disconnected. Okay, so restarting itself. I would say that's probably the internal resistance of the battery pack maybe is too high, and when it's running on battery, if you happen to have a large load with the CPU or whatever demands a large amount of power, then the overall voltage of the pack drops and it causes it to restart. Appears not to restart when battery is disconnected and charge cable is connected, so that's normal. Issue does not appear to be with battery after testing with new battery. I'm gonna think it's gonna be more along the lines of multiple bad batteries, yes. Hey Chaz Witten. Offer first item to viewers. Well, we'll see. I mean, it's a good little camera, the JVC. I mean, it just obviously wasn't ideal for us for the fact that we weren't getting a superior result compared to this thing. I mean, this thing's amazing. Could it be a software problem? Not likely. I would say, yeah, the fact that it does restart when it's just running off the battery, it does seem to me like it's going to be an internal resistance problem on the pack. Let's zoom in on this. Let's get the individual pixels on this camera. That is so good. Tried NVRAM reset. No, I haven't tried that. It's not really something I would have gone for. I would sooner say that it's just simply poor internal resistance on the pack. I can test that, but well, actually I can just prove it by I'll let it charge and then I'll run Valley and see if it drops itself out. Typically you might not see it at full charge, and then around about 80% it might start manifesting. Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll put this aside, we'll let it charge to full, we'll start on another job. Downside is that the other job's going to need this MagSafe connector, so I'm going to have to get myself another MagSafe 2. Inconclusive jobs like this can be a real pain. Okay, where is the next one? What do we got here? This is not a 1708, this is a 21 something. Alright. Job from someone I don't like getting jobs from. And he knows who he is. And that's the best bit. I've been given no fault. All I know is this machine's just turned up, and that's it. So we got, yep, find the fault to report the fault. You know, ZX, I actually have already made one of those. I made a fair bit of money selling them too. And mine, yeah. Let's see, wherever I can find it. NQRC, LiPo battery tester. I can't even remember the name of the products I used to manufacture. Internal resistance meter, IRM. Here we go. You'll feast your eyes on the crap I used to manufacture. Let's see. Yep, Appeal Daniel's internal resistance meter. It was shonky at best. And I actually wrote manuals for stuff back then. Oh wow, I can't believe I used to actually write these manuals. These manuals are written in LaTeX. But anyway, so I do have this thing. It's not going to be any good really for this particular task. But what it would all it would do is it just simply put a big load on the battery, and then it would measure how much the voltage would drop from when you loaded it versus when you didn't load it, and then there were battery sense points, and you could pick up what the voltage drop was. It was nice and simple back then. That was AVR based, Atmel 80 megas and stuff. I never really was a big fan of the PIC system. I didn't like the idea of running at 40 megahertz and pretty much getting nowhere for the first 50 cycles of each instruction. Okay, I'm being dramatic there. I know it was not that inefficient. Alright, and you've been partially disassembled. Yeah, that's my favourite, partially disassembled. Keyboard. So what is this? This is a O13 something? What? $15.98. Oh, yay. $515. $820-1598. Well, at least we do have the board view for that, and the schematic. And I've mysteriously lost chat. I think the reason why I ended up going with the Atmel AVR chips was because you could make a programmer for it, for Linux, with just like one resistor and a parallel port. Being able to have such a low barrier of entry into getting started with these things was a massive win for that company. Hilariously, of course, they ended up being bought out by Microchip anyway, but at least they kept the controllers. Right, I don't know what I'm dealing with here. I guess we should put the meter in, but I'm just going to work out what parts they've... please don't deassemble things for me. Volts, 20 volts. Shoot. Let me guess, this thing's booting. We've got some bugs in here. Some roaches. Yuck. So I got 20 volts, 200 milliamp. Not sure if we're booting though. Hey Basil. Alberto from Argentina, welcome. Yeah, we're just holding steady 220 milliamp. Sorry, 200 milliamp. Is that the T2 condition on these? DFU mode T2 condition. Oh, let's take it apart and have a look and see what the other side of the board looks like, just in case we're about to make it start doing things while it's got liquid damage. It's probably not the best thing to do to it. Is a T4, please? T4. Yeah, the on-screen display, the power supply is for the other computer, so it's charging up at the moment. Okay, what's going on here? I think I need some more attraction in my screwdriver. They chop and change between T4 and T5 all over the place here. Special magic, Miles. Special magic. Apple only magic indeed. Okay, that's not connected. Crikey. Oh! Do not jam a screwdriver between your legs. Bad for your health. Not quite sure if I had to take that out or not. Okay, they're very Hey, John Mello. Tick 121. It's a bit weird and quiet at the moment. We haven't really gotten started on a turkey hunt yet. I see they've changed the style of the screws on this one for down the bottom here. Actually, they're all over the place. Yeah, okay, I found some corrosion there. Unfortunately, it's right by the flash memory, I think, which is a bad thing. Barry West, thank you. Any project. How about the Kitty Cat project? Kitty Cat Resort Sanctuary project. Or the Paul Eats Ice Cream project. Okay, so... yeah, right. Okay, so it's not a continuity issue there. Probably more something to do with this resistor. But I do worry if that whatever got corroded, what's causing the corrosion has gone into the inside there. that cap there is looking a little dubious. But it's okay. Alright, so we've got that liquid damage there. Let's have a look around, see if there's anything else. There's that. Looking a little sinister. Yeah. Okay, so basically we've got a board that's got okay, so we've got some definite janitorial work to go ahead with. It's just kind of like splattered all over the place. None of them is specifically shorted though. That there would be more likely to be a problem if that's a resistor. Wow. This is kind of board that you throw into the ultrasonic and hope for the best. Ah, wait, no, okay, that's it, we're dead. And of course, naturally, it's a 9240. If we're really lucky, nothing's happened to it. It just needs some TLC. Yeah, acid bath job. Acid bath to fix it up. And you'll probably find that there is the actual real fault. It's a bit like the J-tag. When you get some random bits of junk across the pins of it, it kills the whole board. Or inhibits it from booting, rather. So yeah, this is going to be a bit of a janitorial, and then it's going to have to be a wash job, and hope for the best. I certainly don't have any 9240s on hand. They're still a bit hen's toothy. Hey James Ewing, where you been lately? Probably out there having a proper life, unlike us basement dwellers hovering over the microscopes. Hey Dev Pump, appreciate you dropping in, of course, as always. Okay, so we'll flux and boil this area, and then we'll test, see if anything's showing up as being particularly narky. I don't really want to have to take that chip off. I don't think it needs to. Find some other sections that needed flux and boil. Yeah, stuff like that. That's, you know, all of that stuff, that can just be board killer. Or at least stop it from booting. Hey, 10-minute tech. Sounds like an excuse that I would make I love it when you forget about jobs, like phone jobs and stuff like that, and the customer turns up to pick it up, and you realise you've forgotten about it, and you're like, oh, can you just give me 10 minutes while I go and find it out the back? Meanwhile, you go back and start madly trying to do the job. Do not like it when you get caught out like that. Doesn't happen very often, but every now and then, yeah, just the activity of the day can catch you out. Devashish, no, not in this particular case. I mean, it probably could be a similar cause, as in just a bad battery. Oh, that was a weird patterning for the... This one is, well, the previous job rather, is exhibiting signs of poor internal resistance on the pack. Probably just really cheap, nasty cells more than anything else. Or maybe even just the pack's been sitting in storage for 5 years. Right, this one here I actually do want to check properly. And I've noticed also that pin is corroded. Time to go to the schematic and board view. Okay, so it's this obscured resistor here. PV bus. Okay, so it's supposed to be a 10 ohm resistor. Some people do wonder why you put something like a... You often see them as a 1 ohm or a 10 ohm resistor on the power input on some chips. And a lot of the time you do that just because you know the chip shouldn't take a lot of power, and it's sort of a bit of a preventative, kind of like a fake variable fuse kind of thing, where if it does suddenly start taking a lot of power, then the voltage that will be dropped over that 10 ohm resistor will prevent it from doing much damage to itself. But if it's drawing the normal amount of power that it should be, then there shouldn't be a lot of voltage drop across 10 ohms, so it should operate perfectly fine. Okay, so 10 ohms is fine there. Overloaded. That called a choke. Not quite. Choke is more for an impulse control. So like it stops a sudden inrush. Whereas this is more of a linear response. Ah man, this crap is just it is everywhere. The more I look, the more I find. Hey, 555. And like I said, it's not specifically smoking gun fault crap, it's just, hey, one of us is going to conspire to make it so that this MacBook's going to fall outside of its operating envelope, and we're not going to tell you which one of us it is. And every time I find a new one, I think, yes, this could be it. Like this here, current sense, and it's got junk in it, and maybe it's upsetting the current draw sensing. And it's thinking, oh no, I can't let you boot because you're pulling too much, and you can't see because you're not on microscope. Damn you people. I really got to learn to just go with quad view. I don't want to heat this up too much. It can be quite hard to get these current sense resistors off, and it's right next to this chip here, so I don't want to mess with that too much. That's a flash, that's storage. I'm better off just letting ultrasonic take care of this. It has to. Ugh. I'm just scrubbing down with 80-20 mix, just so I can pick up any of water soluble stuff while I'm at it. Kind of curious why they've got those paired caps everywhere. Like what they're feeling like their method is. They'll just be, signal conditioning, that sort of thing. Like there, so like all these pair caps here. It's just curious because there's two of them rather than just one. Let's say we try it again. See if anything has changed. Remember, we were sitting at 20 volts, 200 milliamp before. See if we do any better this time. I guess I'll just have to unscrew the USB-C connector. kind of cheating saying everyone in Sydney is unstable. I'm thinking, don't you mean like the whole of Australia? Oh hell, make it the world. Hey Greg, you having fun with your couriers too? Did you see I had success today, Greg, and I actually managed to get the courier company to call me. I know, shocking. But I called them out on their robot calling bull trash, their robot email responses, and they actually called me. That was about the 12th email I've sent them, repeating the same question that they refused to answer all the time. And I said, "You're just robots." I said, "You're not humans." They called me and proved me out wrong, and so they called me. But I definitely still stand by my theory that prior to that they were all just templated responses. No way the same humans wrote the same thing that many times. Yeah, it was okay, but they still haven't actually solved my problem. They're still trying to say that it's scheduling because the courier can't come if it's not submitted by 12 o'clock. They can't get it until the next day and all that. And it's like, that's not the problem. The problem is that the ticket doesn't actually get here. If the ticket got here, as soon as it gets here to these couriers, they pick it up instantly, or within 30 minutes, because I know them. They're my family. Well, relatives. And they know that I'm always wanting to get the packages out. So the fact that they're trying to tell me that it's a scheduling issue is just like, you're trying to just make up lies here that aren't going to stick. Hey, Rod Rogers. See if we can do better than 220. Hey, Byron, how's it going? Alright. You have to just believe me when I tell you what's happening. Okay, it's 170, 160, 80, 160, 70, 400 milliamps, 240, 180. Yeah, we're back to 200. Honestly, I think we just put this in the ultrasonic. CPU's not getting warm that I can tell. Alright, let's have a look at under the camera, just in case. I don't think we'll see anything. Hey, Ted Berry, they may have smashed the CPU. Well, I wouldn't put it past him. Come on. Hey, Eddie Painter, how's it going? And Noob Fixer. Alright, who stole my... God damn it, what's going on here? Did I press the button and send it to Neverland? Seems like it didn't get a chance to charge up properly. So just bear in mind that things are happening in spite of the blackness that you're experiencing right now. I'm just getting myself another USB-C power brick. And trying to pick a victim. This will charge up. I'm still here. Alright. Nothing really jumping around there. Hey. Yeah. Sorry, you want the last bit of fruitcake? Fine. Alright, so the only real heat that we're showing, and this is at, oh, we're actually at 32 million, 320 rather. Okay, we're actually something different this time. We've got heat just here. To give you an idea, it's not really that much. It's just a little bit above skin temperature. Yeah, so 330 there. I think that's possibly coming from that chip there. And the winner of the award of that's U2800, Titan Ridge, USB-C. All I know is it's behaving in obscure way, so yeah, I think this will probably just be a case of throw it in the ultrasonic, see what comes up. Very rarely do you get anything creeping in under this in here, but we'll have a look. Say, nah, it's a full flippin' shield thingamajig. Ted, the weather's becoming more acceptable, as it were. There's a little bit of carbon on that cap there. Like I said, I'm thinking it's more the chip itself, the not the chip, the USB-C controller generating that heat. Ow. But we'll stick a little bit of high purity isopropylene on there. Yeah, nothing's jumping out, so I'd say it's just the chip underneath on the other side, and there's probably nothing wrong with that. Oh, hello. Just noticed something down here. Look at this. But that is just electrolytic action. It's not actually cooking or anything like that. It's just electrolyte. Because there's a bit of flux there. A bit of junk. Let's wash that away. And it shouldn't do it anymore. It wasn't because it was getting hot. Hey, Jason's. Oh, there's some serious action going on over there. Okay, I'm not going to let it run like that for too long because it could actually be doing some damage. Yeah, so I'd say, yeah, we're just going to put this through the ultrasonic. The board has got enough mess on it that, and none of the mess seems to be particularly smoking gun style. It all just seems to be little itty bitty bits. But if you get enough of those itty bitty bits in random places, then you can get these sort of situations. And I certainly don't want to just let it stew in its random liquid concoction there, and that will probably cause more drama than not. Even though that was 99.98% alcohol or something like that, 99.8, it's all the impurities that get picked up on the board that cause it to become sufficiently conductive for that kind of thing to happen. Okay, pop. Now, I could ultrasonic this tonight, but I won't. I'll wait till tomorrow. Instead, we'll work on some 1278s. As I cry about the fact that my wife is eating the last bit of fruitcake that we had. Especially, the insulting part is the fact that when I bought it, she's like, "Oh, what are you buying that for? You know, it's it's nasty. You shouldn't be having that. I should make you fruitcake instead." And I'm like, "Yes, you should make me fruitcake instead. But until you do, I'm going to buy it." And now she goes on and she eats my fruitcake. That's just one of the many ways that a husband gets repaid for his decision to stand for what he believes in. Yeah, I should probably write the job number on this one. 515. Actually, what we'll do is we'll have a look at that 1466 again. Some paper roll. Hey Mohammed, having a reasonable day. Nothing to complain about realistically. Wife's prerogative, yes, well, that's for sure. Okay, so we're at 41% charge. And we're still running the Valley benchmark test. So I'm going to pull the plug. Yeah. See, what are we drawing? So 25 watts. If I quit. Oops. A little bit big. Ted Berry, what do you put in your ultrasonic cleaner for cleaning mix? There's a substance I get from the local Element 14 store called Ambersil. It's a non-frothing mix designed for ultrasonic cleaning. It's a little bit expensive though. I think it's about $19 for every 1 litre container, and it creates 6 litres of mix in the end. And considering that I've got a 22 litre ultrasonic tank, that's pretty expensive every time you've got to redo it. Margarita, I agree with you. A traded toasty would have been better. I'm a little bit stumped by this one. Bad contacts on the battery even? Who knows? Hey, g'day Walter White. Not really sure how to put a greater drain on this at the moment. Now, Jason, it is an expensive clean to swap out. There must be a homemade mix, as it were, that would work, that would be substantially cheaper. Yeah, maybe a pinch of caustic soda and maybe some dishwashing liquid combined with some anti-foaming agent, combined with some flocculant to make all the gunk drop out. Yeah. No, well, I genuinely am not sure what to think of this. I think I might stop for tonight on this one. Send them a message, ask for a little more clarification, try and ascertain exactly what has been tried. Because I'm not getting this to misbehave yet. Given that they said that it came back after 3 months, I'm inclined to go for it being the battery problem. Because after 3 months, that's often, you've sort of beaten the cells up a bit and they're given up. They decide now they're going to be dead cells. Yeah. Damn it. Every damn night. Alright, what else we got? Another partial disassembly. Ooh, this one's still got the original hard drive in it. Wow. You've got scum on you. Okay, let's switch over. Yeah, the 1466 I really can't specifically find a smoking gun fault on it. And the 2129 I think it was, the 1598 board, that just had a lot of bits and pieces of trash over it that I'm thinking it's probably an ultrasonic fix. I hope it is. It's not a guarantee, but every now and then you do get lucky, and it's just simply a case of there's so much trash on there, something silly is messing with it. Right, here I go again, tune up another container. This is why I've got to have so many containers. Hey Catherine, welcome. Alright, so what's wrong with this one? Device is not power on. Has not been turned on in a couple of months. No liquid damage. Data is important. Well, data is not a problem in this case because we do have the hard drive. Corrosion on the board around R5071. Okay, this looks like a 3115 by the looks of it. Hey Mark. Yep, it's 3115. I can't truly read the numbers on it, but I can just sort of... the pattern fits. Ah, and someone's bought the Air, Macbook Air. I can already see down the bottom here, there's going to be corrosion and junk there, so we're just going to take this straight out. There's no point pretending that there's not going to be corrosion. There it is. Okay, keyboard. Right, they've pretty much disassembled it entirely for me already. Let's have a look at what they've done for the... Ah, that was screechy. No, they had the speaker attached to the underside of the metal case, and the adhesive backing on the speaker decided that the case was more interesting. How often? It gets changed when I can't see the boards anymore. Yeah, when it starts to get to the point where I'm not sure where I'm fishing around in there, then that is when you change it. Or the other time is when you feel like it's just not cutting the flux away. Yeah, if you find that when you inspect it afterwards it's still got too much flux residue, then you go, okay, look, it's just not happening, we have to change it over. Sometimes that happens before it goes, before it becomes an opaque solution. These we know are no problem. These are handy little containers. I would certainly, but I have a personal preference to not worrying about the metal. You get these at mechanical stores, I believe. Car repair stores, things like that. They're just little parts holders. Yep, that tape tore the foot off that. Okay. This goes there. There is some variance in the size of these screws, but with the 1278, you can usually work out which is which. Mark, sort of getting back on my feet and stuff like that. Yeah, it's been a interesting 5 weeks now. Not really the sort of thing you want to end up doing too often. Thankfully you don't. It's probably got SMC damage or something. I'm expecting to see a bunch of issues down there, maybe down here as well. I know they have listed a particular resistor that's got corrosion, but I think the microscope will reveal quite a bit more. Zoom out. Okay, BIOS chip is, yep, messed up. Yep. Okay, I shouldn't say messed up, it's just got, its legs are looking a bit green. Via corrosion like that can be a problem. That is one of the problems I found with these 1278 type boards, or any of these boards of this sort of era, is they've got a lot of these open vias, and they have a tendency to attract moisture into them and corrode in the inside. They've got 2 sticks in here? They've got 2 sticks in here, so it could also be a RAM fault, but that typically manifests with the 3 beeps. I'm just going through, having a quick look at what sort of real damage we might have. Like I said, that via there is a concern to me. Yeah, there is a bit of corrosion down here, and as nasty as that BIOS chip looks, it's probably not really a problem. That resistor might be. But yeah, this is okay. Someone's had flux around here, and look at this train wrecks down here. Yeah, that's going to be where our problems are, to say the least. In many cases, for these sort of scenarios, I actually just replace the boards. If I know I've got some fixed up ones, it's often easier and less drama to just go straight ahead, swap the board. This one isn't too bad. We'll take the heatsink off. There'll be stuff under here we probably need to clean up, and we'll get to work making this area nice again. Well, Luke, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, if we get board view and schematics for them, then yeah, there's hope for it. One thing I have noticed is that in the past we were content to wait a couple of years before we need to worry about servicing these things. But it seems now that there's this expectation within the community itself that within 6 months of a machine being released, we should be servicing them and such. I mean, I know people bring them to us. Whoa, what's happened there? Okay, there's a discoloration there. That could be that the heat pipe is vented, or it could just be some other random trash. But needless to say, give it a few years. I mean, when you consider we're repairing like things like this, and they're like 9 years old, So I'd wait a little while and see how it goes with the M1s. I think we just get a bit impatient now. Oh, sweet mercy, yeah, this is a... If the PCH isn't dead... Alright, we will flux and boil, and then we will scrub back with the 80/20, and then we'll see if anything is coming loose. Leaving flux behind, it depends on the situation. Sometimes you leave a little itty bit behind, and it's not a major problem. I mean, particularly if it's a no clean flux, flux that's designed to be allowed to be left on the board, as opposed to a high activity flux that you probably don't want on the board. There's a couple of messed up caps there for sure. On most of these boards, this area is always very prone to issues like this. So we're just getting that flux up to temperature, let it chew in on the corrosion. You can see how it fizzes. When it starts fizzing, that's when you know you've got stuff happening. I'm kind of curious why that's a scratch there in the middle. There's like exposed copper. I'm kind of worried maybe a veer has been knocked off. There's a fair few caps there with no end caps. How many times can I say caps? Any triple file, the flux won't do a lot to the board itself, but it will potentially attack the solder and the metal on the parts, things like that. I mean, by its nature, it's meant to be slightly, corrosive to eat into any of the corrosion. Which is why you can pick your activity level of your flux. You can have just standard flux, activated flux, high activity flux, all that sort of stuff. And with it comes the different levels of responsibility of what you're meant to do for the cleanup. You could use plumber's flux if you wanted, but by golly, that'd be a nightmare to try and neutralize that stuff before it's killed everything around you. That's a little bit nasty, but it wouldn't really be a problem. That's just a isolation transformer and a bit of coupling caps there. Can't believe Alita ate my fruit cake. What am I supposed to eat at 4 in the morning? Okay, this could be an actual fault. Oh, getting tired. I haven't even achieved anything yet. Sorry, removing hardened flux. If you can, warm it up, scrape it off, and then put it through the cleaner. Give me some assistive heat, alsjeblieft. The reason why I was focusing on this is there's a bit of junk between these two pins here, and that will affect the operation of this chip, and this is part of the one wire circuit, I'm pretty sure. Fairly sure. I could be wrong. So that's U770, which is... oh no. But... that can't be right. Yeah. SO switcher for 1B05. Okay, so it's not quite the one I was thinking of. So, my bad. Ah, JCT, yeah. Guess what I was saying a lot when I was over there. Please, please. There's other words I can say very well, but it'd be inappropriate for me to say on channel. Let's find out what's going on with this here. So there's a bit of corrosion there. We need to find a tweeze. No, we'll just go for a knife. Let's get stabbing. Alright, okay, so that's like a pass through. I'll have to check a donor board. I don't know if there was a part there, or I don't know what's going on here. Maybe there was a test pad there. Yeah, I'm looking at 3115. I really thought it might have been part of the... Man, all of these caps are just murdered. That's gonna have to go, let's go, yeah. Yeah, let's just start swapping them. I mean, it's not like I'm gonna be able to change the outcome. Sonia put me up on a pedestal like that and I'm gonna fall off. There's plenty of machine. I wish I could fix anything, but been proven wrong too many times. My ego's starting to take a beating. Just trying to make sure I don't heat up that PCH too much. You can see it crumbles that, so that's got to back it up a little bit. Yeah, I saw that. I saw it. I know. Someone's got too much. Hot air's got too much vigor. Miles, you can keep your 1534s to yourself. I suggest you bury them in the backyard, and then they'll come back as like pet cemetery and haunt you. So we're just going to go through, clean up what we can, put new parts down, and hopefully by the end of it we'll have something functional. It's not a guarantee, but it's a start. There's too much damage all around for us to be able to pinpoint what's really causing it right now. Oh, blimey heck, it's past midnight already. Let's see, what are you? U315? Yep, 315. Yeah, it looks like I've been stealing parts around here too. The caps are not likely to, with them missing, it's not likely to be disturbing the circuit too much, but I do like to still swap them out. Unless they're specifically shorted, they tend not to, at least caps like this, tend not to be primary players. Unless they're part of a precision timing circuit or something like that. But we replace them because at some point it's a good idea to replace them. Ow! Yeah, if you don't, then you do tend to decrease the operational envelope of the circuit. And you may not notice that when you're testing, but the customer might notice it because they're using it in a hotter or colder environment, or at a lower battery voltage than what you were, things like that. And that's when these sort of envelope restrictions or constrictions start to come into play. Patrick Millie. My friend's a farmer with a huge ego problem. All I did was ask where he was, and he brags that he's outstanding, and he's funny, yeah. What's your most favourite board to work on? That's a good question, really. I mean, initially I'd probably say something like 3437s, but I'm sort of, is that my favourite simply because it's one I can guess the faults on more reliably, or is it because it actually is interesting to me? So now you're making me have a bunch of thoughts. Ismailata 81. I have no idea if I even said that right, but I just sort of glanced at it for 0.2 of a second and thought, right, let the brain guess what it's supposed to be. I know, that's a little bit disrespectful. Hey Ted, catch you later. I'm a little worried this resistor isn't... Oops, well it's gone now. Yeah, but Mal's, I mean, overall the 3437 is pretty nice. I gotta admit though that the reason why I hesitated on the 165 is because it's usually the 165 that I have the PCH or CPU issues with. 3437, you get a little bit more of a hint when it doesn't do the boot cycle, the spin stop. Whereas the 165 is just like all or nothing. I know things like the 3115s, 2936s and stuff like that, they're definitely not my favourite boards. There's too much of this sort of work that goes on with them. Yeah, too much of this corrosion type situation. Oh, come on, don't do that. Yep, resistors in the ether. Alright, we need to look at that trace here that has been damaged and see if there's anything that we need to worry about. So it's up here, these two. It might be nothing up there, but wait, what? I've taken all the parts away, so now I can't tell what's meant to be here. Is it this cap? No, let's get another 3115 rather than hurt our brain. You're at 2936, aren't you? Oh no, my bad. I think it's this resistor, is it? So we've got... I think it's this resistor might be missing. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what... So yeah, we've got a missing resistor here. So we need to put one in. Kind of curious what that resistor is. Try an electric toothbrush. Huh. Yeah. Tempting? Tempting. Okay, I think it's 5071. And your job is SMC lid. Alright, so it pulls up SMC lid. Okay, so without that, the machine, it would boot, but then it would shut back down and go straight to sleep. Actually, I don't know if it would boot. Depends on whether you're starting from having never had power on before or not. This is so close, we're just going to rotate the resistor in to do the job. So that would certainly be something of a smoking gun in my opinion. You mongrel. I'm going to allow it. There was that other via that we had on this. Where was it? It was down by the LVDS connector, I think. There, that via there gives me the heebie-jeebies a little bit. So we'll just drop some flux there, and then solder stuff it. Dave is a man with a lot of sayings. I don't know, he even catches me off guard plenty of times. We might have to stuff a bit of crowbar wire down there. Night, Jim. Take care. I hope those pains don't keep you up too much. Alright, so we've managed to get a reasonable amount of that wire down there, and it should just poke out on the other side. Okay, so it's tacked in. Flip it over and we will probably have a very difficult time finding out where it pokes up. Knowing our lock, it's actually poking up underneath a part somewhere. I'm going to have to use the board view and schematic to actually make, so I can find out where that is. So there was that one there. And it comes out just near U770. Is it that one that I'm working on? Yep, pin 1. I have no idea. The only thing I can think of is maybe it's actually one of these where it's the coating has covered it over. Hey Kodak. Yeah, good thing someone did do the software. Saved me a lot of drama. Hey, no print. This is going to be another one that wants the ultrasonic something bad. Clear up all that trash. Alright, so we'll cut off that end. It's done its job, it's filled up that possibly problematic via. I suppose we can give it some power and see what happens. Oh, we'll just clean up that there. That needs to really be fixed. Ah, shoot, sorry. Yeah, why am I bothering? I'll just take that off. Left the capacitor off by the resistor. Which capacitor? I need a number. By SMC lid. Hey, we've got a CQ Delta X-ray. Spent far too much time in my early teens repeating that on the radio. We get the occasional good skip from places like Tasmania, but overall it was mostly just trash talkers in the local area. By the SMC lid. Okay, which cap are you talking about? Because I can't see any missing. Yeah, there's all the pads are filled that I can see. What have I missed? Oh, you may be talking about this. Right. Okay. It's not that... Did I take that off? I don't think it was there in the first place. No, I don't think this was there in the first place. It is on the SMC lid rail, yeah. But yeah, there wasn't a pad there, was there? I don't think there was. I think it was already gone. I'll review the video later and prove myself wrong. Alright, we're going to do another dirty cheat here, I must admit. I'm a little ashamed to say I'm going to do this, but it's because trying to do a wire reconnect at this sort of distance is a bit silly. But yeah, good eyes, thank you for that. So all we'll do is we'll just put it on the diagonal as well. And there we have a perfect union, I hope. A little worried about there's a trace getting exposed just above it. Okay, that's better. Damn, I've got to change my camera focus. Alright, I think we can do a test now. See if it even fires up. But I'd say most likely it was that missing SMC lid circuit that was probably causing them to register it as not functioning. So it would have been functioning, it just was asleep. Yeah, Barry, I know. You just got to get sick of it enough to the point where your OCD takes a backseat. If they were separated by a greater distance, I would certainly, put them in properly and run a wire between them, but not like that. And certainly not on a three-way. Don't get me wrong, I give the boards the most respect I can, but sometimes you just have to cut yourself a little slack. Let's not talk about flavors of electrons. I've already been having enough fights with people who seem to magically think that fossil fuel electrons are somehow different to wind turbine or hydroelectric ones. I mean, I know they truly don't believe that, but they certainly pitch their debate on that principle. And it's just frustrating when people do that sort of thing. It's like you're derailing a perfectly good debate. Yeah, Marguerite, it doesn't happen very often, does it? This MagSafe is pretty shonky, and that's me being nice about it. Okay, we got fan spin. We'll just see if we get a green blinky. Gotta have our green blink. We got our green blink, so we are alive. So I would say 99% likely it was the missing SMC lid circuit that was the problem. Everything else was more incidental. I mean, it needs to be replaced, like we did, but it was not like a it wasn't the key fault at hand. The SMC lid thing was. Alright. Okay, well I think that pretty much does it for tonight. I'm knackered. And I'm starting to now, run out of slots. Like I've got a stack of machines that are coming in that need repaired, and they're in 1 or 2 slots. And then I've got all the other slots for machines that are in the process of being repaired, waiting on something for further diagnosis, stuff like that. And so we've added another 3 tonight to those slots. I'm running out of slots. I've got to stop doing this. What's this sort of bridge? Oh no, you blew a toner cartridge. Yep. I'm surprised more people haven't died from that kind of thing. Then I will also check to see that this heat pipe does the job properly tomorrow. So when I get it all back together, I'll put the infrared camera on it and see that the heat actually flows up properly. Because around about this age they do start having a good number of failures where there's a hole or something in that heat pipe, and your initial testing will go okay, but then under load when the person's trying to do the Excel spreadsheet or whatever, it just doesn't perform as it should, and that's because there's that little bit of hole there and you didn't spot it. So, alrighty then, thank you very much for being here, and thank you for all the people who actually assisted in helping make a better repair there, with things like finding that capacitor was missing, even though it was on the board, but because I wasn't observing properly, I didn't see that it was on the other one. So those are actually useful things, so thank you very much for that. Okay, now to go see if there's fruitcake left. Yeah, I doubt it, Tony. She's probably... See, I have fruitcake and rooibos tea, but looks like tonight I'm just going to be having rooibos tea and nothing else. Just checking there. Alright, that's it. I'm out here. You'll take care. I'll see you later.